So Donald Trump's latest idea is to ban flag burning, and in the process, he says, we took away freedom of speech.
And we've made it 1 year penalty for inciting riots. We took the freedom of speech away because that's been through the courts, and the court said you have freedom of speech. But what has happened is when they burn a flag, it agitates and irritates crowds. I've never seen anything like it on both sides, and you end up with riots. So we're going on that basis. We're looking at it not from the freedom of speech, which I always felt strongly about, but never passed the courts.
Did anyone actually believe that Donald Trump ever wanted free speech? Even Joe Rogan calls him out on it.
First of all, I definitely don't think that the government should be involved ever in dictating what a comedian can or cannot say in a monologue. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Now, if the problem is the companies, if they're being pressured by the government, so if that's real, and if people on the right are like, yeah, go get them, oh my God, you're crazy. You're crazy for supporting this because this will be used on you. You don't think that the fucking globalist lizard people who run the world are sitting here going, great, what do we got, 3 years? We'll wait this out. We'll wait this out. Yeah. Let them say the government should be involved in censoring people's speech. Yeah. Let them support that. Let these dumbasses, because Jimmy Kimmel's a leftist, let these dumbasses think it's a good idea and we should celebrate.
He's absolutely right. You saw how giddy some of the Trump folks were when Jimmy Kimmel, we thought, was canceled. Trump himself was so excited. But if you go for that, if you support that, it's going to come back and bite you. But these people keep pushing.
Americans have been living through an unprecedented surge in censorship the last couple of years. We need to return to free speech, diversity of opinion. Anytime you have an increase in government control, you necessarily have a decrease in free speech. It's fundamentally un-American. As you stand yourself, diversity of opinion is so important in this country. And it's going to be one of my top priorities is trying to smash this censorship cartel. The Biden administration's entire approach to the internet, its broadband agenda, if you will, can be boiled down to one word: control. Late night shows, something's gone seriously awry there. They went from going for applause, from laugh lines to applause lines. They went from being court jesters that would make fun of everybody in power to being court clerics and enforcing a very narrow political ideology. There's more work to go, but I'm very glad to see that America's broadcasters are standing up to serve the interests of their community. We don't just have this progressive foie gras coming out from New York and Hollywood.
Fallon and Seth Meyers, but is the president's view that they should also be taken off the air shared by the FCC?
Our goal and our obligation here is to make sure that broadcasters are serving the public interest. And if there's local TV stations that don't think that running that programming does it, then they have every right under the law in their contracts to preempt it. And we'll see how this plays out. But I do think that, again, we are in the midst of a massive shift in dynamics in the media ecosystem for lots of reasons, again, including the permission structure that President Trump's election has provided. And I would simply say we're not done yet.
That was chairman of the FCC, Brendan Carr, flip-flopping on free speech. When it's something that he wants to be free, he'll argue for it. And when it's something he doesn't want to be free, he'll argue against it. And here's Donald Trump flip-flopping.
Do you see a difference between cancel culture and consequence culture?
Well, I mean, your question's a little trick question. I'm a very strong person for free speech. At the same time, when you have networks where I won an election, like in counties, I guess it's 2,600 to 525. That's called a landslide times two. When you have that level of popularity or voter support, as I did in the last election, and yet 97 and 94%, different numbers. You see different numbers with different stats. But 97, 94, 95, 96% of the people are against me in the sense of the newscasts are against me. The stories are they said 97% bad. So they gave me 97. They'll take a great story and they'll make it bad. See, I think that's really illegal, personally.
So he just said, I love free speech, but negative coverage of me should be illegal. Okay, first of all, how out of his mind is this guy? He just throws numbers, 97, 98%, 92%. It could be 89%. It could be some percent. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? We all know now in the media landscape, there's right-wing media and there's left-wing media. And I guarantee you that on Fox, 98%, 97%, 96% positive coverage for him. I guarantee you on Newsmax, I guarantee you on OAN, those networks are giving him massive, massive positive spin, because there's really nothing positive about his presidency. He's really just taken us into a tanker, whether you're talking about the economy with his tariffs, whether you're talking about the kidnapping of brown people from the streets because of his militarization of ICE, whether it's him sending troops into cities that don't need the troops. You got troops, you got Army reserves walking around Washington, D.C. cleaning parks because they got nothing to do. Whether it's his foreign policy, whether all this stuff, whether it's him enriching himself, he and his family making billions and billions of dollars, there's nothing positive really to talk about. But the networks that cover him, that like him, flip it for him. So him saying that 97% of coverage is bad or whatever, it's just mumbo jumbo that he makes up. Where's he coming up with this stuff? He's basically saying that during the election, that these networks were taking anything positive about him and making it negative. Well, let's not forget, he was indicted on 34 charges. Let's not forget that he led an insurrection. Let's not forget that he took those classified documents. Let's not forget that he did all of that and worse. So there's a lot of bad stuff to cover on you, dude. And you can't just say, oh, no, you can't, don't report on that. Don't report on the fact that I actually called the Secretary of State in Georgia and asked him for 11,000 votes. Do not report on the fact that I sat in the White House while the mob was attacking the Capitol and they were gonna look for Mike Pence. They wanted to hang Mike Pence. I just sat there and did nothing. Don't look at that. Look away from it. Don't look at the fact that my name is all over the Epstein files. Don't look at that. That should be illegal. Negative coverage of me should be illegal, but I love free speech. I love free speech. Really, dude? Really? I mean, if anybody, I don't care where you are, right, left, but if you are an American, you should really want freedom of speech, and that's part of the Constitution, over some dictator who's telling us what should and shouldn't be free speech. The fact that Brendan Carr flip-flopped like you just saw, the fact that he went on that interview after Jimmy Kimmel did that joke that he didn't like, so he goes on a podcast and he goes, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. So basically we can pressure ABC into getting rid of him. And ABC did for a minute, but to their credit, they brought him back. So we're seeing that there are people still with a spine that will fight back what's basically an attack on freedom of speech. You can't, this is not the country where you should be banning comedians because you don't like what they say. They got rid of Stephen Colbert with that, put pressure on the company, fire Stephen Colbert. They tried it again with Jimmy Kimmel, did not work. But they are not proponents and champions of free speech. That's the last thing they want. Don't believe me? I'm a stand-up comedian. I've done shows where I've been telling jokes about Donald Trump, and I've had Trump supporters yelling at me. Google, after this, go on YouTube and look for Drunk Trump Heckler. It was me doing a whole hour, and at the very end, I made some jokes that were pretty innocuous, and this lady loses her mind. I want you to watch it and leave a comment. Let me know what you think about it. Because that's who these people are. They don't want free speech. They want you to talk about what they want you to talk about. And if you say something that offends them, then they come back and they go, you're trying to cancel me. You're trying to cancel me. You're not allowing me to say the N-word or the R-word or the this word or the that word. Meanwhile, you're trying to cancel people's complete careers because you don't like what they said. Meanwhile, you're trying to tell people that if they do negative coverage of you, you're coming after them. Doesn't Donald Trump seem to sue everybody for exorbitant amounts of money? Everybody that he feels has done him wrong. I think he tried to sue the Wall Street Journal or something recently for $1 billion or something, right around the time when that card came out. Remember the card that was the Jeffrey Epstein card with the female body, and then he'd written some really salacious really ooey kind of language for Donald Trump for Epstein's 50th birthday, and the Wall Street Journal reported that this card exists, and Donald Trump came out with this crazy lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal. I think it's gone away because We saw the card. We all know it was his card. But that's what he does. He tries to silence. This is the man who loves freedom of speech, and he wants to silence free speech. He wants to silence. Listen, flag burning, whatever. If somebody feels like they want to burn the flag, the whole point is the freedom of speech allows you to do that. There are certain limits to freedom of speech. You can't go, they say that, going into a crowded theater and yelling fire. I guess that causes something, some kind of backlash. But this is the country where you have so much freedom of speech. You have Nazis doing rallies in the streets of America. That's how much freedom of speech is actually a part of this country. And Donald Trump is trying to chip away at it little by little. You can't talk about the flag. You can't talk about now Charlie Kirk, who passed away. You can't talk about him. You can't talk about anything that Donald Trump does. Don't make fun of Donald Trump because that's negative coverage, and that should be illegal. That's a nod and a wink to Brendan Carr to like, hey, find ways to make negative coverage of me illegal. That's basically what happened with the whole lawsuit with Paramount. He was upset that 60 Minutes had interviewed Kamala Harris during the elections, and they showed one clip in a promo, and then they showed another clip in the actual interview. And he felt that somehow was them doctoring this interview to make her look good. When in reality, 60 Minutes had said, we do this all the time. We have a teaser that's not in the full interview, and we just keep it out. But Donald Trump was able to go after Paramount for that crazy amount of money. And because Paramount had that deal going with Skydance was trying to buy Paramount, and it had to be approved by the FCC. Paramount caved in, settled, and gave Donald Trump the $16 million. And then, of course, Stephen Colbert, true to his form, made fun of it even though it was his boss's, and then the next day or whatever, he got canceled. So these are the people who like free speech. These are the people that are leaning on private companies to then control free speech. These are the people who are going to universities and telling universities, we want to supervise what you teach. And we're talking top universities, your Columbias, your Cornells, your Harvards, your who else has he gone after? He's gone like the UCs. He's gone after everybody. He's gone after everybody, and they muscle their way in, and they say these are the things you can and cannot talk about. You cannot talk about Israel. Do not talk about Israel, or we're gonna take away your free speech. There's certain things you can't talk about, or we're gonna take away your free speech. He went after those law firms. You can't. You guys in your law firms. You were the law firms who came after me and actually went after me when I was committing crimes. Well, then we're going to come after you, and we're going to keep you from going into federal buildings, because that's what a lot of these law firms do, their business in these federal buildings. So he can ban them from entering the federal buildings. They lose business, so they caved in. So everyone's been caving in, but thank God in this case, ABC, Disney did not cave in, and they brought Jimmy Kimmel back. And the next time some MAGA guy tells you that they're for free speech, just look at them in the eyes and just start laughing, because they're not. They only want to hear what they want to hear. They don't want you and me to have free speech. They don't want us to talk about a lot of stuff. Believe me, they don't want us to talk about a lot of stuff. So keep talking about a lot of stuff. Put it in their face. Keep talking about a lot of stuff. Guys, I'm comedian Maz Jobrani. I've got a channel right here on YouTube at Maz Jobrani. Give it a follow. I post funny stuff. Don't forget to check out that drunk Trump heckler on YouTube, and you'll see me trying to handle a drunk Trump heckler. Come see me live. Bye.